Hello, my name is Reid Satterfield, and what an honor it is to be chosen to share with you. And I've been asked to share a little bit more of a broader aspect of my life because my time at Gordon-Conwell was truly unusual, and that I started, if you can believe this, in the fall of 2001. But from 2004 to 2012, I had the privilege of beginning and working with the Pierce Center. And so I would like to share a little bit about that. And one of the themes is definitely that things don't always turn out as we think they do. I think all of my fellow students can bear witness to that you came in here with certain expectations, and it didn't take too long for those expectations to be blown out of the water. How quickly you were going to move through the program, all of those things. Well, for me, I started the program in a very difficult spot. My wife and I had been working among an unreached people group, Muslim people group, in the northwesternmost corner of Uganda, a place that we moved out to in 1999, figuring we would spend our lives out there. That came to a violent end the night that I was gunned down by extremists. It's a miracle that I lived, but my injuries were so serious that it ended our time, our dream. And in 2002, we found ourselves living in Charlotte, a place that admittedly took me about 5 years to admit that I was from. I didn't want to be here. But the Lord in His goodness eventually showed me that this was the exact place that He called me to, in the exact time that He called me to. I began when we were still meeting in the business office off of Arrowwood Road, when things were very small, and though our community was special, it was small, and I had the privilege of becoming a student then, when we also, and being a student, when we moved into the beautiful facility that we had now. And early on, it was a bit funny because it was me in there studying full-time, and I believe my good friend Octavia Baker. We had a lot of good conversations then. But what the Lord enabled me to do, and what was so valuable, and especially in light of the fact that my gun wounds had left me crippled and in permanent pain, my classes became my sacrifice of worship. And the Lord honored that so much, in that they became this place, this crucible, this place of integration, and where I not only learned deeper about the glory of sharing in the sufferings of Christ, but perhaps more importantly, the joy of sharing in the sufferings of Christ. And this truly transformed me. It was at this time that I was hired by Dr. Mayer to work behind the circulation desk. And one day I came to quite a realization, and something that the Lord put on my heart, that if I made an attempt prayerfully to greet everyone who came in through those doors, that the Lord could impact the entire campus. And I saw it begin to happen. And that's when the Lord showed me how valuable the gift of hospitality was going to become at Gordon-Conwell. And you yourselves who have been through the program now, it's one of our great assets, that when you come, you belong. You don't just belong, you become a part of a family and a legacy. One day as I was sitting and taking a break from behind the circulation desk, Dr. Klipowitz pulled me aside into the chapel and asked me if I would be willing to take over the work, to pioneer the work of the Pierce Center for Disciple Building. I admitted I cried over the honor, and also probably partly because how in the world are you choosing me? He then took me up from the circulation desk to an office in the faculty. And I remember feeling so stupefied, with faculty on either side, and like, what in the world, Lord, what am I doing up here? But the Lord made it so clear to me that wherever he calls you, he will provide. He will provide. And that's what I saw miraculously through the work of the Peer Center, which the work of the Peer Center is based on the passion to see Gordon-Conwell graduates leave with not only a conviction for discipleship, but the capacity for discipleship. And so as I work with our student fellows, just in that kairos moment when hospitality by the Spirit was beginning to be unleashed, the Lord allowed the Peer Center, which was small, to have an impact that was pervasive, even subversive. And these are the convictions that we drilled into them and that I take with me and offer to you. The conviction that the essence of ministry is offering Jesus Christ to others. We can't have that which we can't give what we don't have. Secondly, that ministry preparedness isn't the ability to get people to do what you ask them. Ministry preparedness is a measure of our willingness to be counted among the least in order that we may be servant of all. And lastly, and this is so important, as we have been called to be ministers of the gospel of reconciliation and healing, and that is in the very deepest, darkest place of our hearts, Jesus Christ awaits to meet us and to redeem.